A very good evening, and I hope you had a very wonderful weekend. It's Sunday, the 24th of March, 2019. Now, all the CEOs, over thousands of them, have descended to Rwanda, and some heads of state have started to arrive for the CEOs Forum. And it's our time to mind our business as Rwandans, looking into the Made in Rwanda. Now, Made in Rwanda has become a household slogan. You know, a lot of improvements have been made and the policies, but there's still some gaps and to be filled, and of course deficits in balance of trade. We also have, as of September 2018, Rwanda had a trade deficit of about $1.017 million according to the central bank, and the Made in Rwanda policy has made significant contributions towards balancing the country's deficit. We have the figures, statistics from the Ministry of Trade and Industry show that since the start of Made in Rwanda campaign in 2015, Rwanda's total exports have increased by 69% from $559 million to $944 million in 2017, with the total imports decreased by 4%. From 1.849 billion in 2015 to 1.772 billion in 2017. The national total trade deficit has also decreased by 36% since 2015. We are talking about all that, the Made in Rwanda, what it has done, and the conversation starts here. I'm joined by a couple of experts and of course some consumers on this show, but let me remind you to start the conversation with the In Focus, and this is what we're looking at. We're looking at the Made in Rwanda policy, the cost of doing business in Rwanda, what factors have limited the uptake of local products. Are Made in Rwanda products expensive, or it's a lie? I use that word that is quite common in the movie if you watched Issa Rae. But is this just a mindset, or they're really expensive products on the local market? Remember to send your comments and opinion. I've seen them coming in already. Fanny, Francois, Mutonesha, Made in Rwanda policy are really, let me start with this one. Made in Rwanda products aren't really expensive, but marginalized by a stereotype that they lack quality. Rwandans should change mentality when it comes to policy. Youth, I think these are Rwandans in agribusiness, are challenged by getting S mark. Startups should be treated differently and supported in all ways. Thank you so much. You know, we're having quite a number of comments. We have this one over here from Juvenal Tratsinze. As a backbone of Rwanda's economy, Made in Rwanda SMEs need more incentives and support than FDI in taxation, bank loans, capacity building, promotion, etc. to make better products at affordable prices. There are quite a number of comments. Made in Rwanda products are quite affordable. This one is this Haina Rwanda? Our website haina.com hosts such products which are readily accessible. You're going to pay for that advert, but it's okay. Thank you so much for your comments. Looking forward to this discussion, as it will shed more light on the policy. We want this. Okay, this doesn't make sense. Let me go to this one. Anyways, quite a number of comments here. Remember to send them. I'll be back here reading some of your comments, but let me introduce my panel right here. To begin with, thank you so much for joining me. Megan Nimwiza, Miss Rwanda 2019, an ardent consumer of Made in Rwanda products. You're here representing over 70% of Rwandan youth, which represent, of course, the biggest market of Rwandan products. Thank you so much for joining me. Priscilla Ruzibuka. All right. The founder, I'm used to the name Ruzibuka. The founder and the managing director of Kipepeo Kids, a children clothing brand whose business model is a social enterprise creating jobs for underprivileged women in Kigali. You're doing an amazing job, and congratulations on the medal you received from the Queen of England. Thank you so much for joining us, and of course, we're joined by Malu T. Jontilano. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yeah, Hontilano.
Hontilano.
Yeah.
The general manager of C&H, probably the biggest manufacturer of textile and the exporter from Rwanda.
So far.
Thank you so much, Hontilano, for joining us. I hope I pronounced that. By the time we end this, I'll be very good at it. And of course, the last but not the least is Lawrence Gakwaya, Deputy Commissioner for Large Taxpayers Office at Rwanda Revenue Authority. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. And of course, and thank you so much for joining us. You can remember to send your comments and opinions. I'll be reading them throughout because here it's an interactive session where we get to understand the policy, the Made in Rwanda policy, what we can do better to improve our products, to make sure that even the gaps that I mentioned earlier, trade deficits, the gaps are closed. Let's start it off by probably you, Priscilla. What do you see as the major challenges towards the high consumption of Made in Rwanda products?
I think there are two main challenges. One being the mindset of our customers. Most Rwandans still believe that Made in Rwanda is very expensive, so people tend to look for other options, buying other products that are not Made in Rwanda, with the thinking that Made in Rwanda is expensive, so they go for something cheaper. And secondly, as the Made in Rwanda brands, we're having challenges of getting accessible, good quality, yet cheap materials, which in the end makes it hard for us to make the margins.
Sure.
Yeah.
Before we continue, we have this video. It's a news report that we had about 3 days ago about this same topic. Let's watch it and then it will inform our discussion tonight because it will also complement what Priscilla just mentioned. Let's follow this report.
Textile factories in Rwanda are on the rise every year after the government imposed increased taxes on imported second-hand clothes and fabrics about 2 years ago. Proprietors of textile industries in Rwanda say that they are doing everything possible to increase the quality and the quantity of their produce, owing it to the fact that the government has put in place several incentives to facilitate improved production for local and international market.
We're producing 20% local, 80% export. Yeah, we are increasing now because after that, when AGOA also was not there, then we are also looking into expanding more. Because the issue is not we are doing small only. The thing is also something to do with capacity. So we have the big capacity of export, so that's why we have a limited portion of producing local. But to produce that in a big scale is not an issue. We can always start and make new production for local. So meaning as many as we can produce, then it's not an issue.
Apart from the big factories, some SMEs in the textile and clothing industries import raw materials before they make final products locally. These SMEs say that they are not rested until their products are appreciated on the local and international market.
Ntabwo twakwirengagiza yuko quality dufite mu Rwanda utayigereranya cyane na quality mpuzamahanga.
We know that it is still hard to compare the quality of our products with those on the international market. Some clients ask for high-quality products, and you can't help envisioning that if you had better machinery, you'd favorably compete with the biggest brands. But slowly, our quality will improve with the demand on the market and profitability.
Design ari keza ariko yakwitegeza finishing akavuga nge ntago nakambara umwenda utari finished gutya.
Kuri standard rero biragoye cyane.
It is still difficult to match the international standard because most of our raw materials are locally produced or imported from within the region. It makes it difficult for us to compete with popular brands like Lauren Polo, whose raw materials are internally produced with consideration of market preference in terms of quality and quantity.
Ngenda gerageza gutanga ibyo nshoboye kubera capacity.
Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Yuzil Ndagijimana, says that in bid to promote local textile and leather factory, the government decreased taxes on locally manufactured apparel by 25% in addition to other incentives. We have to make it easy for the textile and leather factory to import raw materials by removing taxes, and they get other incentives such as getting them warehouses in the industrial zone or connecting them with other producers within the private sector federation, setting up investment funds to facilitate access to finance and connecting them with the available market. However, consumers say that despite the government intention to promote locally made products and improve the value of local brands, they also challenge local producers and factories to improve the quality of their products and make prices affordable and competitive comparing to alternative products on the market.
icyemezo leta yafashe nacyo kirumvikana ko kugabanya iriya myenda ituruka hanze cyangwa kuyica kugira ngo
The government decision to discourage importation of second-hand clothes is understandable, but made in Rwanda clothing also faces the issue of low quality, yet they are very costly.
nyuma y'igihe kinini iki ngiki wa mwenda utaye intuza.
Available figures from the Ministry of Trade and Industry show that Rwanda's exports grew by 69% in the last 3 years, while imports reduced by 4%. Industries in general contributed 10% of the total GDP in 2018.
All right, and that's the report that sums up the conversation that we're having tonight. Gives us a guideline of what we're going to be looking at. But let me start with the consumer here, who represents the biggest majority locally. What do you see are the main challenges towards the consumption, the high uptake of the locally made products? It could be textile, it could be leather, it could be anything but locally made.
Thank you. I think the main challenges we're facing as consumers is we still have a low, let me not call it low, but we still have a mindset that our products are still not as good, their quality is bad, or we still have that mindset that Made in Rwanda is an expensive brand, or that and that. But we're not thinking of what are the things that are causing this. What do we think is the root cause of these brands being expensive? So also we don't think of the fact that Made in Rwanda is not the Made in Rwanda brand is not, doesn't have low quality. But you are probably unlucky to meet one brand that was not really, the right quality, yeah. And you bought that, and now you have that mindset that the Made in Rwanda brand is fake, or it doesn't have quality. But no, we have things that have quality. I'll give you an example. I'm wearing a Made in Rwanda brand. This is a very nice one.
It is.
I know. Thank you. We still have that mindset because you are fooled by that one brand, that one product that didn't meet your expectations, and now you think that Made in Rwanda doesn't have quality. And also being expensive. I'll give you an example. The Made in Rwanda brand being expensive is because the market is still low. The consumers are still low. If the tailor that made this, he or she will consider the electricity they used, everything, And now they made 10 of these. Compare it to someone who used the same electricity to make 100 of these. It will not balance. The prices will really not balance, because someone who made 10 of these, because the market is still low, will put it on a higher price. Someone who made 100 of these, because they have so much market, will put it on a lower price because they know they'll still get the money back. So as consumers, as a consumer, I want to emphasize that Made in Rwanda is not expensive because it's supposed to be. It's expensive because we do not consume it right. We do not use it. And it doesn't have low quality. It has great quality, but we're just fooled by those small things that we meet that do not.
And of course, you also mentioned the cost of production.
Yeah.
But that brings us to this name is good. Can I prefer to, let me stick to Malu?
You can convene the first name.
Malu.
Malu is much better.
You export 80% of your products?
Yes.
And 20% is sold locally?
Yes.
How do you do it? Well, how is it because your market preference is focusing on the export, or you find yourself more of foreigners wanting to buy your products?
No, actually, it's about we are driven by job creation. The most important thing is, we export, it's job creation, poverty elimination, and export generation. So we are focusing more of, like, when we're looking into export, you're talking about thousands of workers from the low levels to the middle level, getting a decent job. So this is our main focus. It's only like getting a job. It's a job creation. At the same time, you have the foreign currency coming in. So actually, this is our main focus when we came into Rwanda. But of course, one of the initiative of the government that we are being pursued is how to produce the local garments to be able to help in eliminating the second-hand clothing. But then we still need to consider about when you say low quality, we need to distinguish between what is the low quality. Are you talking about the low quality of the garment or the low quality of the design? Because if you're talking about the middle class or like in your case, your generation, most people they like fashion, and coming in second-hand clothes, these are all fashionable clothes which are coming from the branded like Calvin Klein, to name a few of all these famous brands in Europe and USA. So it answers the question like why people the generation now still want the second-hand clothes. But just what she's saying, it's about the mindset, because we're talking about just the same materials. We just need to the designs and things to improve it, and then it will be made in Rwanda, local will be successful, I believe.
All right. There's also an assumption. Let me bring you in, Mr. Gakwaya. There's an assumption that one of the challenges that affecting the high uptake, the high consumption of locally made products is because of the cost of production, which includes taxation. There are a couple of taxes. If you go out there, people think there's this tax, there's the other tax, there's this tax. Tell us, have you received such complaints, official complaints from the producers and manufacturers of high taxes?
Thank you very much. I have received a couple of complaints from different taxpayers saying that one of the reasons for high cost of doing business is because of the taxes. But when you go too deep and analyze the reason for the high cost of doing business, I would not say that tax is among the big issues. Maybe Maru and the rest of the colleagues can testify. What I can just give you as an example, we can normally when we are talking with them, they tell you that when you compare our taxes with the neighboring countries, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, ours is high, and I don't think it is high, as they say. Because I can give you an example. When you compare maybe some taxes, compare the VAT. The VAT rate in Rwanda is 18. In Uganda it is 18. Tanzania it is 18. Burundi it is 18. Apart from Kenya that are on 16%, but the rest are on 18. But they tell you that VAT is very high in Rwanda, but it is not the case. Let us go to the income tax, where they are paying the tax on the profit. In Rwanda we are on 30%. Uganda is also on 30%. But Kenya, they are slightly higher than 30%. They are on 37.5. Burundi, they are on 35%. Tanzania is on 30%. So I cannot say that the taxes is one of the components that make the cost of doing business high. There are other challenges which we also appreciate, like the interest, the transport, electricity, and others. Yeah, taxes may be among them, but it should not come on the top of the list. And also the taxes in Rwanda are not high as they are saying.
All right. So one thing that has been coming up, Priscilla, is the mindset. The mindset. But I mean, we've used to seeing these quality second-hand clothes coming here, and you wear it for 3 years and it's still fine, and you bought it at 5,000, and then there comes your product, Kipepeo, which costs, I was looking at your website earlier today. The cheapest is 5,000. The most expensive, I think, is 15,000. It's locally made, but you're considering what is your market? If you're putting up all those prices, what is your target market? And do you consider that as inclusive enough?
Yes. Looking at the market that I'm targeting, which is the middle class parents who have one or more children who are always going for a guhemba here and there, and they want to buy something nice, something a bit unique from the common shops where you find everything looks the same. 15,000 is not a lot. It's really affordable, and it's also the same price you'd pay if you go and buy a ready-made cloth for a child. So I'm giving my clients an option. When I offer you the same price as my competitor, who is not a local brand, I'm giving you an option to say, I'm not buying this, I'm promoting Made in Rwanda. And to me, that's what I get from most of my clients. They come because they appreciate the designs, they appreciate the price, and they also appreciate the unique part of it, you know, whereby it's not a regular white T-shirt, but something with a bit of color, with a bit of local fabric that makes whoever is being given the gift appreciate it more. The unique part of it is what attracts people to come and buy, but also the prices, because they're very friendly. And considering parents and children are always growing, that's why I can't put my prices very high, because I need them to keep coming back.
You're looking at the middle income, but there's also you know, the lower income as well. How do we get to reach them? How do we get to serve them? Because this is also a market on its own. And of course, if we are to promote Made in Rwanda inclusively, we need to consider all these elements.
Definitely. I'll get to that. I believe I'll get to that. But at the moment, because our production is still limited, when we get to a level where we're able to produce 1,000 pieces in a week, then we'll be able to put them, the same thing Megan was saying. If I'm able to produce 1,000 pieces, I can sell each at 1,000 francs and still make the profit. But if you're only making a few clothes, you have to put the price at a level where you can see the profit margin as well.
Megan, do you think it's just the perception that the things are expensive, not expensive, they're just not expensive, or it's because people don't have enough money? Your people, your age group, 19, 20, 25, and probably going below, they don't have enough money as you to buy a very good dress like this one.
I'll answer this in two ways. I think it's not because we do not have the money. I just think we have the money, but we prefer to buy stuff from other brands somewhere else, because we have the tendency to think that this will last longer than the Made in Rwanda. So it's not a problem of not having money, which can be a problem too, by the way. It can be a problem too, because not everyone will afford the 5,000 she was talking about. Not everyone will afford the 15,000 she was talking about. It can be a problem, but I do not think it's the major problem. The major problem still lies in the mindset. We'll still think that since this is locally designed, since this you know, has a bit of local textures and this and that, it will not last longer. You know, we still have that mindset. So we do not want to give that money to the Made in Rwanda brand, but we prefer to give it to some other brand, some foreign brand, because we think it's the one that has quality. Sure. So, yeah, I think that's the problem.
All right, Malu, how did you make it to have this bigger market outside, so that, I want yours to share your experience with the local producers, so that they get to know what they need to know, what they need to do to improve their market base locally.
I think, it's when you say low quality, I think we need to, define it more clearly. When you say low quality, are you talking about how is it being made, or is the quality of the material is a problem? Because when you say second-hand clothes, these are branded clothes. These are, signature clothes that, that's why it became second-hand clothes, still can wear because it's durability. But when we say you're importing materials, we are talking at the same banana. It's just the same thing. So it's just a matter of how we do the designing and how we do the marketing, how we do the promotion, that people, the middle class or the majority consumers will look into this locally made Rwanda products. Just also, I noticed is like the problem is, the challenge is, I think it's the purchasing power. So it's like, a lot of majority wants to buy, But the thing is, the purchasing power is limited. Like, for example, I'm just earning like 60,000 a month, and you're talking about the clothes that cost like 5, 10,000, 20,000, then I should not be, you know, it refrains me from buying.
And actually, that brings us to how do we get those people that earn 30,000 a month, your household who earns 50,000, how do we get them to buy, to pick interest in locally made products?
How to encourage them?
Yeah.
Okay. When I say we're doing 80-20, meaning 20%, when you're talking about our capacity, which is, for example, a line, we're producing like 500 pieces per day for one line, and we have 16 lines. So you can imagine, if you're just talking 20%, you're talking about like 100,000, like let's say 20, 30, 50,000 in a month if we want to produce locally made products. We did before, even we still have. And that is the main challenge we have. We have about, now I have about 2 containers now stuck in my warehouse. These are all made on Rwanda products, but we are having a hard time moving it into the market because of the price challenges. And because we import these materials, we are looking into like, the burden of taxes on top of these materials and on top of this selling these products. So if there will be a mechanism to like, for example, for RRA and other agencies to help make let's say a kind of incentive that could reduce all those costs of materials bringing in, all those costs of production in, then we can make a competitive price. Because as far as quality is concerned, I don't believe that made in Rwanda is a low quality because we're using the same material. It's a matter of how we do the finishing, how we do the designing, how we do the promotion. This is, I think, the gap in between.
And this actually brings, you talked about the burden of taxes, one of the challenges, and this sends a very big alert to Mr. Gakwaya over there. What do we do to improve the taxation policies and of course the incentives so that these people, what Malu said, they are able to succeed in what they are doing. They are able to touch all bases of the market.
Thank you very much, Nelson. I think you are aware that the tax administration, we are not in the process of gazetting the laws. The laws are done by the Ministry of Finance.
That's true.
No matter what we do as a tax administration, we advise on the changes that can be made under the tax regimes.
And what has been the advice?
And what has been done, I think Maluka can testify that the importation of raw materials, they don't pay import duties. And even when they want to buy raw materials locally or capital goods, they are not charged VAT. They are exempted. So that process was initiated by the tax administration and it was approved by the Ministry of Finance. Currently it is under the investment code and also the domestic laws. All the imported raw materials, capital goods, and they are not subject to all custom duties. And when they buy locally, they are not charged VAT. Another thing that we did to help them so that they can not feel the burden of taxes is to have online services. Maru can also, even the prisoner can tell, they can sit back home, they file, they pay without coming. I think you can remember something.
But they pay.
They pay, but at least they don't have that cost of coming to RRA to when they want to file or to pay.
Yeah.
Another thing that we are doing is the VAT refund. Currently, we understand we have an issue of the old backlog of the refund, but the current refund claims, we are making timely payment. They can easily get their refunds within 30 days. We even reached the extent of saying that if you are in a fund position, part of it, when it is not exceeding 50,000 for small taxpayers, 500,000 or 2 million for large taxpayers, you can even carry it forward to the next VAT return, other than requesting the tax administration to give you the refund. We have even reached the extent of saying that if you are in export, like the C&H, we automatically give you a refund, regardless of the amount. That also helps them so that they don't feel the burden of taxes. We have the EBM system in place, where you can generate invoices. When you buy using also from the people having the electronic billing machines. You can use what you bought and what you sold, and just to click a button, you get your annex of the expenses, you get your annex of the purchases, the annex of sales, and then you file immediately.
Sure.
I hope.
Is that right? It's
no,
not?
I'd like to challenge him on something.
Okay.
You see, you're saying you're giving tax exemption to brands that are bringing in their products to make made in Rwanda products.
Yeah, raw materials.
That is very true.
And
I
capital
happen
goods.
to also be a beneficiary. But there's a challenge with our suppliers, our local suppliers. People who are buying materials and selling in Karite Mateus. They're being charged very highly. People who bring in kitenge, people who bring in normal cotton materials, they're paying very high taxes that now it's putting their product on very high prices that we can't afford anymore, and we choose to buy out of the country. We import because if I have to buy here 1 meter at 7,000, I would rather buy it out of Rwanda on half a price, and I'll get my tax exemption. So. But now, who will be their client? These guys will run out of business. They'll leave the businesses. And if I can get the tax exemption, there is that tailor who works in town who is just waiting for one client to walk in, measure a dress, measure a shirt. She relies on these local suppliers. So if you make the prices or the taxes very high for these guys, in the end, they'll be discouraged to bring in materials. Because this is something that has been going on. I can tell you since January to now, 3 months, the same people I buy from, I go, it's 8,000. You go back the next day, 8,700. You go back the third day, it's 12,000. And they tell you, I just brought in my products, but I couldn't get the container off Majerwa because the tax is higher. It's double, you know. So these guys are the ones who are being affected highly. And if you look at Made in Rwanda, it's not just us. It's not just the few brands that are being recognized out there.
It's about those people.
It's about those people because people come from Musanze and everywhere else to buy from them, you know. They might not be my clients now, but these are the Made in Rwanda clients at the moment.
I think Nassan Prisa needs to have information. What the law says is about the registered investor. And who is using that product as a raw material. She quoted an example of igitenji. Igitenji can be used as a finished product and it can be used as a raw material. And it depends also on who is selling that. When you buy the igitenji from the person who is making igitenji here, let's say that Maru has decided to go into that business, then you go buy that igitenji from Maru as raw material, and then you use it also to get an output of maybe a finished product. Then you will not be charged VAT. What you need to do is to apply to the Commissioner General. I need to buy this raw material from Rwanda, and I need not to be charged VAT when I'm buying from Maru. What the tax administration do, we check, and if you find that, yes, you are a registered investor, you are buying from the person who is making that product, then we give you a confirmation letter that Maru should not charge you a VAT. But when you go to the Mateus to buy those products, you can hardly know whether it is a finished or a raw material product. So I think what we need in Nassan is to encourage other investors to come and do some raw material that also other people can use so that it cannot be charged or subjected to VAT.
But, you know, there's something she mentioned. You go this day, you find the tax, the it's at 7,000. 2 weeks later, it's at 8,000. What informs the revision of taxes? Because, you know, what she's saying is actually right. 1 month ago, you go to, you know, somewhere to buy a suit. It's at 40,000. The following month, it's at 80,000. And you're wondering, what are we doing for ourselves? And this is something that happens, you know, everywhere. You go to buy this dress. I believe from the time she became Miss Rwanda, or even before, the same dress that she bought at 20,000, it's probably now 25,000. Yeah, if I'm right, she will probably testify. What informs this revision in policies, in taxes?
Nathan, I don't think that the change in prices is caused by the taxes. Because, let us just give an example of the import duty. The import duty has never changed for the last 5 years. The VAT has never changed for the VAT rate has never changed for the last 5 years. The income tax has never changed for the last 5 years. Why do you say that the change in the price from 40 to 50 is caused by the taxes. I don't think it's the prices. Normally, people confuse taxes with other overheads, maybe they incur. So when there is change in exchange rate, when there is change in electricity, when there is change in water bills and others, they take all those things in one basket and say, we are increasing our prices because of taxes. But in actual
Quite an
sense,
interesting one. My director is asking me to check here. There are a couple of comments. Let's take a very short break. But when we come back, we'll be looking at some of your comments right here. Let's first go for a short break. But when we come back, we'll be reading some of your comments and opinion that you've shared with us here on the In Focus. Welcome back. It's still In Focus, and remember you can engage us with the hashtag InFocusRW. And let me start with P, the real Olo here with the comments. In Focus RW, Rwanda Revenue Authority setting their taxes according to other East African states, or the idea is to state the regional industry standards, reduce taxes, and possibly other relevant bodies should set a maximum price on all the made in Rwanda products. This is a comment, and I hope you'll be able to respond to this moment as soon as I'm done with this. Let me go back briefly. Thank you so much. This is Tera Frank. Thank you so much, Ethan. Thank you so much, Ethan, for a good discussion on In Focus. Well, the quality and the prices are still the main issues entrepreneurs must address, but looking into I may want to know how many of you in the studios of RBA have put on made in Rwanda products. We do this, we try. We are not yet there, but we do try, that's for sure. Now, this is Mujisha Eric. The made in Rwanda producers need to match their prices with the quality they offer, as well as considering fashionic and differences in products. Thank you so much, Mujisha, for your comments. This is a follow-up as well, where you said in Rwanda, made in Rwanda products are not highly expensive as perceived by so many people, but made in Rwanda producers need to balance, I don't know, TNG, whatever that means, match the quality they offer. Thank you so much. Now, this is Flora Kaitesi. Made in Rwanda is more than just garments. Let me read that. Sorry. Let me go back a bit here. Made in Rwanda is more than just garments. The choice of guests has automatically made the conversation quite narrow. I think I said this right before the beginning. We can't have everyone, but we're trying to look, like I even read the statistics of what Made in Rwanda contributes to the market and how it is actually bridging the balance of trade. And we are not just focusing on textile. It just happens that we have a few of them who are here. Made in Rwanda products are quite affordable. Our website, this is the comment I read earlier. Thank you so much, In Rwanda. But let's go back to this comment sent in by Peter Olo, the real Olo, setting their taxes. Rwanda Revenue, are you setting your taxes basing on what is actually on the regional market, or it is you to set the standards so that others can follow?
Thank you very much, Tashovia. I think I gave just that one as an example. I was trying to compare our tax rates with the neighboring countries. I could even quote other countries, but I decided to quote the neighboring countries so that the people can get really knowledge of what is happening among EAC member countries. Let us go outside that scope and use another example. Let me use the example of World Bank doing business report. Under World Bank doing business report, we have an indicator of paying taxes. Under that indicator, Rwanda is on position of 35. It is 35th country in doing better in that indicator. The second best on that indicator among EAC, I'm using just EAC as an example, it's Uganda, and Uganda is on 87th position on that indicator. So when somebody says that paying taxes in Rwanda is high, I don't think so. It's not high per se. What I can agree and accept, Rwanda, they try to push so that people can comply. So when you push, so to ensure that the compliance level is high, people start complaining that the taxes are high. But when you compare the taxes, either using the World Bank doing business report or using the tax rates, you find that our taxes are not high, as they say.
Malu, where you were before you came to Rwanda, of course, I think you've been in the same industry for quite some time. You have C&H in Ethiopia. What is the tax base? What is the difference? What would you advise Rwanda to do?
No, actually in Ethiopia we do 100% export. So based on what he's saying, actually somehow I agree. It's not basically because of taxes. You know, when you're looking at the law of supply and demand, this is the triggering point why the prices are more high. Like, for example, I'm just a small merchant, and then, you know, I have this opportunity that, you know, there's somebody want to buy, and this is a, you know, very hot item. For me, the tendency is I have to, you know, increase more prices. And then I'll just make an excuse, oh, because taxes are this, so I need to pay a lot of this, so my prices is like this. Which is you are comparing when importing from China or other Asian countries or other you know, textile producers, it's like more than double or triple the price. So it has something to do also with the law of supply and demand. It's not only about taxes. And, you know, I think I would suggest that there should be, you know, just a suggestion that with this kind of situation, there should be a kind of, you know, price regulations. There should be, you know, because, you know, these small merchants, they tendency to take advantage because of, you know, they also have a limited, you know, there's a limitation of their business. You know, for me, if I have a limitation in business or if there's something that is, you know, hot selling, I just have to go for, you know, keep, you know, increasing the price and making all these kinds of excuses so I can make more money. Because I have a limitation. I don't have, you know, I don't have these chances forever. So if there will be some kind of price regulations like being dictated for these small, you know, sellers, then that could, you know, neutralize the prices besides taxes.
All right. The law of supply and demand. We'll be coming back to that and probably see what Priscilla has to say about increasing, you know, supply, increasing production. But let me go to.
Sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
My mentioning of it's about the local manufacturer, the local seller, not the manufacturer.
That's true.
Because you're buying local, you know, local fabrics that is imported. Meaning on top of importing, they put a lot of things there. That's what I'm talking about, not about the local manufacturer. Sure. It's the local sellers.
Sure. Now, Megan, how do we change the perception of people, the Rwandans, to get to appreciate locally made products?
Thank you. One thing I've realized, or okay, not realized, but one thing that is hindering mainly the consumption of our products is the marketing. The marketing, where the entrepreneurs still do not put in so much effort when it comes to marketing. When you look at, we must admit that the world has literally become a village.
Yeah.
With the kind of technology that's there, with everything, social media. So these platforms are used mainly by the foreigners, the people who are really good at targeting a market. So they will use social media, they will use all kinds of things to market their goods, and it will get to us. We'll hear about a certain product that is made abroad that before we hear about our own products. So the marketing is still not so good. So and the country, I must say that the country has done so much. It has done enough. The government has done just enough for us to be able to be at that level. But we do not use the resources. The internet, the internet in Rwanda must be one of the cheapest. But how do we use it to market our goods out there, so that even other people can buy our products, so that we can hear about our products before we hear about a certain product out there? So I think what should be done is to really market our goods, and yeah, after we do that, I think some of the things will be solved.
You also had issues about taxation. Priscilla says some things are not being done right. Gakwaya says they are trying to do something better. How do you see them coming together and harmonizing these taxation policies? What can be that at the end of the day we see the prices of Priscilla's products going low, but also see the government getting the revenue that it wants?
Well, I do not know so much about revenue and stuff, but well, there's this one time we were sitting. Okay, I heard. One of the myths that have been on the that have been reigning is the current brand ambassador of Made in Rwanda. So she once talked about saving through expenditure. Saving through expenditure. I'll not go into details because I do not totally understand it very well. But so she told us that the more you buy something that is made in Rwanda, a product that is made in Rwanda, and ask for the receipt, it will the government will take 0.5 of the tax
of the entire price of
the entire price of the product, and then through Asia has a program, they will save it for you for future use. I'm not sure if it's regulating the problem of the taxes.
But that's probably an idea that is in the pipeline, but it's quite an impressive one.
Yeah, right. So this will help with the taxation, because we've been talking about receipt, asking for a receipt, asking for a receipt. This will be one way of tackling the problem with the taxes.
People paying taxes.
With the people paying taxes. It will also be one way of tackling the problem of us feeling like we should buy the Made in Rwanda products, because I'll think if I buy this product once or twice or three times, there's that 0.5 that will go on my
pension
on my
benefits.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So they might.
That's something that you should consider as Rwanda revenue.
I think it's a very good idea.
Buying through expenditure.
So some people can make search on that and see where it has worked elsewhere. We can even improve it and have better one. So I appreciate the idea. What we can do, we can propose it to the policymakers and see if it is feasible in Rwanda, but I hope it can work. Because it will be motivating people to buy local made products. At the same time, it will be also saving on your expenditures.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Priscilla, how to make sure that what are you going to do to make sure that you prove your products? I'm not talking just about KPPO, but other local producers. Could be in textile or leather or any product. Make sure that they increase their products, their productivity. What should be done to make sure that they increase their productivity, but also reducing on their pricing?
Thank you, Ethan. There is a lot that needs to be done to make sure that product quantity is increased while maintaining the quality. Because if we put a lot of focus on the quantity, we might forget on the quality, then it won't be of any value. But looking at the current Made in Rwanda brands, be it in textile or any other products, there's a lot of challenges they're facing, capital being the main thing. They do not have the best machines to make what they're making. So one could have a machine that makes 100 pieces in an hour, while the other one is still using a machine that makes 1 piece per hour. You know, these two can't compete. So local brands, Made in Rwanda brands, need to invest in the right machinery, need to invest at the whole package of production in order to meet the high quantity, but also that comes in with capital. So be it financial institutions and other bodies in charge, if they look into investing in Made in Rwanda, then that will be helpful. Then secondly, it's also in the quality of the skills of the people we hire. So when the Made in Rwanda producers are well qualified, when they know what they're doing at their best, then this will also improve the speed of what they're doing. In the end, it will help us get the right product out there, the quantity as well as the quality.
Are you accessing the investment fund? I understand it was established. How is it doing?
Well, I'm not going to say me personally, but yes, the investment funds, young people especially, women, and there are a lot of opportunities out there, but I guess they are not yet well known to all the local producers. There are many other local Made in Rwanda brands that are out of Kigali, let's say. They do not know a lot, or they do not have enough information that will allow them access this, the fundings or the financial services that can allow them expand. So I guess there's still that part of missing information where people will be knowledgeable enough to know I can expand given A, B, C, D. And that will allow us to be able to reach a point where we can sell our products maybe at the same level that we're buying second-hand.
Sure. We have 3 minutes, and I'll take your last comments as what do you think should be done to make sure that the locally made products meet the quality of the international standards, but also the prices of either the local people, that 20% that you sell to the local market, they're able to buy it. Your last words on that?
I think it should be the main challenge. Actually, it's not something to do with taxes also and the demands, the low supply and demand, the production costs also. I think there's still a skill gap that still need to be be like in case of WDA, they're producing workers to to give to each manufacturers. So if we can still, the skill gap can, if we can narrow down the skill gap, that could also help. Because once you have the efficiency, productivity efficiency, then the tendency, the production cost will be lower. The tendency also, you can, put the price down a little bit.
Sure.
I think that could help also.
Mr. Lawrence, let's also get your last comments on what should be done, because I've realized that one of the biggest issues with the Rwanda revenues, people are not aware of the taxes. They are not well informed. How do you improve awareness so that people are freely and happily pay taxes?
I think what we're going to do is to improve on our communication strategy. It seems our clients, they don't know the products we have for them.
True.
And they also don't know their obligations and also the incentive they have through the tax regimes. So what we need to do is to ensure that at least our coverage is big we start with the local manufacturers. We show them these are your tax incentives. In order to get them, you need to do this and this and this and this, so that at least they can start enjoying the incentives they have. Then things concerning the tax rates and others also, we need to communicate to them and show them, yeah, we know the rates are high, and they can even propose for the reduction of the tax rates. Because at the end of the day, the rates are determined based on a number of factors.
Sure. All right, thank you so much. Megan, what do you have for the young people? How do you encourage them to, we want to see the high uptake in Made in Rwanda. What do you have to tell them?
Well, let's think about the advantages of Made in Rwanda. What has it brought to us as a country and as the youth? First of all, Made in Rwanda has employed so many people as a policy. It has employed so many people. You talked about it in the beginning. It has decreased the imports by 4%. Yeah. It has decreased the trade deficit by 36%. 36%.
Yeah.
So why don't we think of all that? Why don't we think of what it has done for us as the youth? And then you realize that. And in the first place, let's think of it this way. If I buy a product from a local manufacturer, this person, it's literally, it is balancing the economy in very many ways. If I buy a product from a local manufacturer, this local manufacturer probably needs to pay school fees for their child. They will pay school fees for their child. Then tomorrow, let's say your wife or your brother is the teacher. Your brother or your wife will get paid. So it's balancing the economy without having to send our money out there.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it, here.
It's balancing the economy.
Let's just balance it.
Do you have some last comments?
No.
All right, and that brings us, of course, to the end of today's In Focus. Thank you so much for your participation, and thank you to my panelists, Lawrence, Malu, Priscilla, Megan. Thank you so much for joining me on this show. The conversation doesn't stop here, because even tomorrow we'll be talking about business at the CEO's Forum. You never know. This conversation might continue up there. If you meet Lawrence in the corridors of the Kigali Convention Center, or the Commissioner General of Rwanda Revenue, or the Minister of Trade, find something to tell them that can improve doing business in Rwanda, and of course the uptake of Made in Rwanda products. It's me, Ethan Tashobia, and have a very, very great night. Up next is the news in English. Have a good night.